I think animation hasn't gone worse. I think the writing is where it's lacking.
I think the most notable commercial this year is the Budweiser commercial.
Average cost for a Super Bowl ad this year, 30 seconds, was...
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gofor Podcast. My name is Sam Hicks. I am joined with my co-host,
Grant Seat.
And this week in the trades, Deadline article reads, Paramount and Mattel have signed a multi-year deal to develop a wide range of consumer products based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, why is this important? Mattel is in charge of what we know and love as the Barbie movie, but also similarly to what we were talking about last week with Josh D'Amaro moving up from chairman of Disney Experiences up to now the CEO of Disney. We're seeing a lot more entertainment companies going into the consumer market. They care more about trying to sell a product rather than trying to entertain people. So it's an interesting shift that we're seeing. It'll be interesting to see what that means for Disney especially. But now Paramount, and I'm sure we'll be seeing other major studios, Universal, I'm sure, Netflix, I'm sure, will all be going into this realm in the near future. Yeah. Grant, what do you have to say about it?
I actually have a question. Do you think that they're trying to sell a product in terms of like the physical toys and all that, or do you think that they're trying to push franchises as a product, and the next movie is also, just a product rather than, another film that they're working hard to make? Because I think we were talking earlier about animation, and like a lot of it seems like it's just missing a little bit more depth to it and stuff that you used to get. So if they care about selling products and the shift is from making movies and making animations and all that to selling the product, the ideas, the characters, then is the product starting to become the movie? And I think the answer to that is yes, and I think we've seen that really take shape in the last 10 or so years.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something that I've been thinking about that is totally out there, but I think it'll be the integration of what the experience is, right? I think we've seen companies like Apple recently signed a deal with Aston Martin, the car brand, to make a digital dashboard that is strictly Apple CarPlay. So what could that mean for a Disney, for example? Disney could partner with Apple, and when your dash comes up, it's Mickey Mouse, whose arms are the speedometer, right? It's like there's so many different avenues that they can go down with this now.
Apple Watch.
100%. Yeah. So there's going to be, I think, a different kind of marketing that will happen where we'll see Disney products in everything now instead. Right. And I think you're right. We've been seeing it in the past 20 years, going from less of a story and less movies into now like the entertainment or the experience of everything and the products that we see in the world. But I think we're going to start stepping into that sort of thing. And maybe, everyone talked about VR being a huge thing 8 years ago. Maybe we'll see more. Yeah. We'll see Disney holograms in the next couple of years. You never know.
It seems to me that like everything for these studios right now is how can we blend the lines between, reality and experiences and the movies. That's why, Disneyland is changing so much because new movies are coming out. You're getting Marvel lands and Cars lands and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's just blurring the lines of reality and where does the story end, where do the characters end, and where do they keep going. So I think like you said, like it is a marketing thing and it's totally selling a product and stuff. Yep. And that's stuff that like personally I'm not a huge fan of, but it makes sense. It does. And like there's obviously characters I like and I fall victim to that because people want that.
Yep.
Like there's how many people do you know that are like, oh my gosh, this is a Mickey Mouse backpack. I love it. I need it now. Yeah. And it's a terrible backpack, but it's got Mickey Mouse on it.
100%. I mean, this is a total extreme, but imagine you go to the store in your Disney decorated car.
Right, your Disney Aston Martin.
Yeah, and you buy your Disney eat-at-home dinner, and you sit at your Disney themed couch and you watch your Disney themed television. Like, I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? They can do that. They're getting to a point where they're focusing so much on the consumerism because companies have shown us that we love technology. We love tech. We love new tech. And so if Disney can lean into working with tech companies to figure out how do we slap our product and our name on the next big tech, they'll control our lives, and that's what they're trying to do.
What do you think what effect do you think the box office has had on this? Because we've seen the box office slowly going down and down every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think people are starting to catch on to it, and I think a lot of the magic that Disney used to create in their movies, people just aren't seeing it anymore. They're completely missing the mark on that entirely, I think. And I mean, I think families are less willing to take their kids to Disney movies nowadays, which is so interesting. And we've seen it, like you said, in Marvel. I mean, we've seen how Disney has practically destroyed the franchise. But you can still go to their park and go to Adventureland. So
yeah, I mean, like, same thing with Star Wars. Like, the last 3 Star Wars movies, absolutely destroyed it, and now it's turning into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
it's becoming the same thing, but just Star Wars. Yet, I love going to Star Wars Land. It's so much fun.
100%.
And like as a kid, like that's all you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I think
experience.
I think they're really smart, and obviously they know what they're doing, and they're pushing into that. I think it's having a negative effect on what kind of movies get made and shown. And you and I know that as we work on our own stuff, it's, how do we make this relevant and marketable? It's always been that, but now it's like, you have to package it, and we don't have characters that we're packaging it with. It's IP. We don't have IP that we can package with. And that's what studios want, is they want the IP, because that IP from whatever book series or comic book or whatever, or toy, like Mattel's doing, that IP transfers into more products.
100%.
And the products keep the companies alive.
100%. And that's what Paramount's trying to do with this new deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to talk about the Super Bowl this past weekend.
Okay. So, number one, arguably, like, if you're going to miss a Super Bowl, this might have been the one to miss.
Totally.
As a Seahawks fan, like, I'm really happy. Like, I'm not a huge football guy, but the only team I follow is the Seahawks, so it's really exciting to see them win. Ads, obviously that's where we somehow, like, that's more interesting to us, is to, like, read the stats on the ads and the football. Whatever. It's kind of nerdy, but I'm sure, you get it. But, so the average cost for a Super Bowl ad this year, 30 seconds, was $8 million. And it fluctuates based on companies and deals and whatever. And, like, if you listen to The Town, you'll know NBC's got the Super Bowl, they've got the Olympics, and a bunch of other sporting events coming up this year. So what they're able to do is sell a lot of these ad spots as packages. And we've seen that Universal, or NBC Universal, has been, a huge kind of champion for this package sort of idea. So the prices go up, but you also get more spots in other, highly watched events. So, some guys are getting $8 million and it's one ad, and it's going to play in the Super Bowl. It's going to play a couple times in the Olympics, and, that'll be their run. But the price is getting pretty insane, I think.
Yeah. And
it makes sense, but it's blowing up.
Yeah. And 10 years ago, the average cost of a commercial was $4.5 million. And 25 years ago, the average cost was $2 million. And also, we've seen a huge shift in the content that's being played. I mean, I can remember Super Bowl commercials, Doritos commercials from 15 years ago. When we were kids, I could remember some of those commercials growing up. And I think the most notable commercial this year that I've heard people talking about is the Budweiser commercial.
Yeah.
Because it was fun, it was original.
Freebird.
And right? Like, and I think part of it too was it was contrasted against medical commercials and crypto commercials and AI commercials. So I think it's strange that it's all these medical and tech companies that are pushing these advertisements. And the most notable one was a beer company because it was the most fun. And people want to see fun Super Bowl ads.
It's the American spirit, beer.
So it's really interesting to see that too commercially. Like, we have these companies paying all this money just to show a crappy ad that they spent no money on.
Yeah.
And people clearly dislike it. So it's interesting.
And obviously you see star-studded casts in a lot of these ads. You've got Benson Boone and Ben Stiller. You've got, Ben Affleck. And you've actually got, a huge amount of 90s sitcom stars. You've got Urkel in a Dunkin' Donuts
I was going to say,
commercial.
the Dunkin' commercial is great.
Yeah, I mean, that one's loaded. And, obviously, I think it's a bit of an understatement or an overstatement, sorry, to say that, they don't spend a lot of time on their ads. But I will say, the number one thing that keeps popping up on all my feeds is people commenting or making videos, posting, saying, man, I remember when Super Bowl ads were funny.
Yep.
I remember when Super Bowl ads felt like we were watching a bunch of movies and stuff. People are really excited for Super Bowl ads. And now it's, I watched 3 or 4 ads from different companies. Some companies had multiple ad spots for weight loss, different sort of medical things. And what's interesting to me is that I think people were excited about the ones that were fun with all the actors and stuff because of the products that people use a little bit more. But it's interesting to see healthcare and big pharma. There were at least 5 big companies with ad spots this year. It's interesting to see the approach they take on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And how they're starting to target that audience more and more, it feels like, every single year.
Yeah. I mean straight up, it's the most watched event in America every year. And these companies are trying to make money. So, I mean, you can't blame them, but it's just the quality of the advertisements are dropping.
Yeah.
And
the creativity is really kind of plummeted a little bit.
Totally. And the game wasn't a lot of fun. So, hopefully next year we're looking forward to next year.
But I will say, I think the game had a lot of aspects that were fun. If you were really paying attention to the defense, both, this isn't a football podcast, so we won't get into it, but I think there was good and bad to the Super Bowl, and the Seahawks won, so I can be happy about that.
For sure. So, moving on to some movies that we watched this week. Grant, I'll let you start with this one.
So I watched Send Help, and I'm still, hopefully by the end of this week, I will have seen Markiplier's movie too that we talked about originally. We were gone for almost a week, so we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. But I watched Send Help, and there was a lot I liked about it. And I think what I have to say about the movie is everywhere it felt like it was trying to be a movie and a story, it fell flat to me. And it was a little bit like, all right, let's get to the part where we came to the theater to see, the action and stuff. Both actors, Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams, were great, and they always will be. But the action was great. Sam Raimi did a wonderful job, and I think everywhere that he got to kind of strut his stuff and show off his skills of action and horror and all that, and the suspense and the twists and all that, I think that he really did a great job. But just getting us to that point felt like such a a hike. It was a lot of I guess what I should say is I think that it was put off too long. What I would have rather seen was half of the movie be what that story and setting everything up was. And then I want to see, if I'm going to this movie, especially based off the advertisements, I want to see the last hour of the movie be what the last, 20 or 30 minutes was. I want it to be longer. And I want way more action and everything. And but overall, I actually do think it's worth a watch, and I think that I think that he really did a great job kind of coming back to the horror genre.
For sure. This week, this is a rewatch for me, but I rewatched The Bike Riders, which has been one of my favorite movies in the past 5 years. I think it's a very underrated film, and I also think it has an incredibly stacked cast.
Why do you think it's underrated?
I think that it didn't do very well commercially. It made its money back, and some, and that had a release on Prime Video. But I don't remember anyone talking about it. I don't remember anyone really being excited about it, which is strange because Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer, and Austin Butler are 3 A-listers in today's age. So it was interesting to see that it didn't get as much love as it deserved. And honestly, I think Jodie Comer steals the show. I mean, she gives the most incredible performance in the whole movie, in my opinion. And a couple of things I am on the fence about and kind of appreciate, but also don't. The movie feels like it's trying too hard to emulate Goodfellas. And there are aspects of that I really like because we all love the movie Goodfellas.
Right.
But it was missing something in an aspect that Goodfellas has that this movie didn't. And we've talked about this before, but it's Austin Butler's character.
Yeah.
There isn't enough backstory. There's not enough to make me root for him.
What's his name? Johnny Boy or something?
Yeah, I don't even remember right now.
Yeah. It's something along those lines, but I totally agree.
Yeah, it just, and this is kind of the Austin Butler effect, but it just felt like I had to care about his character because he was Austin Butler, not because I actually cared about the character.
Yeah, he's not Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
He is, he's a cool guy for sure, but
he is an A-lister. Dune and Elvis. He's, an Oscar-nominated actor, but it just feels like he's being thrown into things that I'm just supposed to like it because he's
starting to turn into Pedro Pascal and Glenn Powell.
Ooh, hot take.
It's not that hot. That's a mild take. But to your point, the reason Jodie Comer stands out so much is because she feels so three-dimensional.
100%.
She, in a way, she is the main character of the story.
Totally.
But man, I felt like I cared about her a lot, and I Austin Butler felt like, it's just like a friend of a friend that you don't really know, and that one thing you have one thing you could talk to him about, and he is that character. I get it, but we couldn't connect to him on a personal level at all. Felt like
for sure, and
we were kept at a distance.
To the point, in Goodfellas, it's equally Henry Hill's movie as it is Karen's movie.
Yeah.
It totally is. So I just think they missed the mark on that movie in that way. But I think in most of the other ways, I also think it could have been a little bit longer. I know you hate movies that are over an hour and 45
I don't know about
minutes.
longer.
But I think that it was a great movie. I think it was vastly underrated.
What's his face? Why am I
Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
So freaking good.
He's incredible. He really is.
And just his obsession with Marlon Brando, that's just such a fun thing for that character.
Yeah. Because he feels like the Godfather. He is.
Yeah. So, if you think about it in the sense of Austin Butler being Henry Hill.
Yep.
And then Tom Hardy being Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Yep.
Don Corleone. Then I feel like that makes me want so much more from Austin Butler's character because we got
100%.
so much from Henry Hill.
100%.
He, it was the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
But yeah, great movie.
Great movie. All right.
I've got a few hot takes. And by hot takes, I mean we're going to make some mountains out of molehills since we are the Gofor Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Here's what I'm going to say. I think animation hasn't gotten worse. I think it's gotten super lazy. And here's why. When you compare modern animation to older Pixar movies like Toy Story, Cars, Incredibles, you'll see a lot of the same cliches and stuff. I think a lot of the writing and everything, you're going to hit the same story marks. If you're studying and learning how to write, those are the best movies because it's really straightforward. But like, I mean, Finding Nemo, like they still move you. You kind of know what's going to happen, but you're still really moved.
Yep.
I don't feel that in modern movies. And what made me think of this is I was rewatching Hotel Transylvania the other night, and I was thinking about how I almost felt like I could have said the lines before the characters.
Yeah.
Like they were saying phrases that were popular, and like every single story beat, it's like, from the first 5 minutes of the movie, you know who the bad guy is already, and there's no fun and like figuring out how they're going to take him down, So I think a lot of that has become kind of standard practice, like we talked about, because of needing to push a product. And,
For sure.
Originally Toy Story was just, another film that can compete in every category, but it's animated on a computer, and that was like a huge deal. Now that it's a little bit more accessible, it allows worse writing to slip by, I think.
Yep.
I think because they can say, okay, well, we're kind of there with all the animations, so wherever the writing's at is what we're going to use. Whereas you go back to Snow White, the reason why it was such a big deal is because it was the first feature-length animation, major commercial feature-length, and think about how good that story is. I mean, it's a classic story that we all already, have heard and existed before Disney, but they had so much time to get the story right, and it had to be right because it took that much longer and that much more work to do that.
Yep.
And to kind of show people like this is going to be new standard is animated movies. And that was 1937. So like, I think we're pretty early on, even in CGI and animation and all that, like we're pretty far along, but like we're still 30 years into it. We've got a lot of time ahead of us, and it'll be really interesting to see what changes in animation. I think you kind of see people try to push the boundaries with Into the Spider-Verse and stuff like that.
Yep. Wild Robot.
Even the new Teenage Ninja. Why can't I?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Good Lord, it's a tongue twister. I also didn't grow up watching that, so
I didn't either.
So my bad. But I mean, you kind of see like they try to make it look a little bit more drawn, but it is CGI, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think animation hasn't gone worse. I think they can still animate and do really cool things with that, but I think the writing is where it's lacking and why families and people aren't connecting with it as well.
For sure.
It's become a product.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's the truth is nowadays think about the new Transformers movie that came out this past year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. You think that was because they wanted to make another version of it? No, I think it's because they wanted to sell more toys. That's what I think. Here's my hot take. Live action remakes of classic Disney cartoons and modern cartoons needs to stop.
I think a lot of people will agree with you on that.
I think so. But here's why I say this. So this past year we had Lilo and Stitch and Snow White come out. Lilo and Stitch did phenomenally. It made over $1 billion worldwide in the box office, which I think was kind of expected because Lilo and Stitch is such a modern classic, I think.
Yeah.
The Snow White movie, as we all probably know, lost around $200 million for various reasons. They totally screwed up.
Yeah. The whole marketing campaign was a mess.
They had a lot of politics involved in the making of that movie and how it ended up losing a ton of money. But I think that we can all agree, and this is a hot take maybe just in general, but not for majority of movie lovers, is that we need to come up with something creative and new. We need to stop preying on the new generation with worse versions of the great originals. I mean, seriously, I think that we have Disney especially. I mean, we also saw the How to Train Your Dragon movie come out this year. I totally forgot about that one too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the movies that we had growing up that were animated or that were cartoons were so good. And these companies, instead of trying to come up with a new franchise or come up with a new untold story, they just revert back to what they had that worked well. And I think everyone's getting sick of it, which is good. But also, if they keep making $1 billion on a movie like Lilo and Stitch, they're going to keep doing it.
Right.
So,
right. Well, let me challenge you a little bit.
Let's hear it.
Disney is coming out with, I think it's Disney Pixar, so this will be a new Pixar movie.
Mm-hmm.
Disney's coming out with Hoppers.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but the premise is a person can become
An animal.
It's literally Avatar for animals.
It is, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But what do you think about that? Because that is, at least from my understanding,
It's an original
that's an
idea.
original concept.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it literally is just Avatar, but it's a cartoon, and instead of avatars, it's animals. I think it's great. I think it'll probably perform pretty well, I'm assuming. I think because it's a...
I don't know. I don't think it'll perform well. I think that it's going to be really slow, and it's going to... I think the release date is in March. I'd have to fact check that, but from everything I've seen in reviews, it doesn't seem to be picking up a huge amount of traction like Zootopia did when it came out.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think that what they have going for them, though, is that kids' movies almost always make profit.
That's true.
So I don't think it'll be a box office success. I don't think it'll be a hit. But it'll be enough for them to be happy with making a profit. That's what I think.
Disney Plus is going to benefit from that for sure. There will be products for sure. I mean, if you look at the animation of those characters, they're bound to be stuffed animals.
Yep. 100%.
And as we know, kids' entertainment and kids' content gets replayed over and over again, and that's why it makes so much money.
Yep.
So I think in the long haul, you're right. It will turn a profit, everything. But I don't think it's going to become a classic the way other animations and stuff have become classics. I think it's kind of just, a filler.
I think you're right. And I think also, to your point about Zootopia, both Zootopia 1 and 2 grossed over $1 billion worldwide. And those were original ideas. Yeah. So there's something to be said about an original animation that people love and enjoy.
Yeah.
And I think as much as I was disappointed in the second Zootopia, and I think it wasn't as good as the first one, I do think that they are kind of the blueprint to show companies that
I totally
you can
agree.
make money off of it.
And I think they're a great example of how you can have an original idea, have an animated film, and still push the agenda a little bit. A lot of parents loved those movies and were willing to rewatch them because there's references to The Godfather and other really famous movies.
Yep. The Shining.
So, it was like a little bit for the parents, a little bit to the kids without doing the gimmick of making dirty jokes.
Yep.
The second one leaned into that a lot more.
I agree.
And it was a little bit on the nose. But I think what the original one did so well is, parents were like, oh my gosh, it's The Godfather. And the kids are like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But they love everything else.
100%, which is great. And that is what Pixar did in the early 2000s with Cars and Toy Story.
100%.
So it's good. I hope that continues, and I hope that we continue to see those companies make money off of it.
I agree.
So
let's talk a little bit about. Did I say that right? Let's talk a little bit about kind of what you've done in the industry and where you're at job wise.
Yeah. So in the past, I have worked 3 PA jobs. All were on reality television shows, all of which I got through a connection. This is where, I think connections, it's such a connection-based industry. I've also worked other jobs, some paid, some unpaid, and most of them have been, or all of them have been through people I know. And right now the industry is slow. A lot of people who are in the industry know that. And it always kind of dies down around the holidays anyways. So we'll see. Now it'll ramp up again in terms of work. But I learned a lot on those shows, and I learned mostly that if you just show up with a good attitude and you work hard, and you are friendly to people, and you actually like the people you work with, you'll keep getting called back. And I've been super fortunate on those 3 jobs that I know one person who has gotten me all 3 of those jobs.
Yeah.
And the person wasn't a high-level producer. They weren't the line producer or a director or anything like that. They were literally just the step above a PA. So get to know everybody. I think if there's any sort of like advice that we could give, I think as people who have worked as PAs and people who have worked in the industry on a low level, you just have to talk to everybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And this is where I think it's hard for people who are outside of LA. Like if you're a kid from Idaho, Nebraska,
Yeah.
you're going to have a hard time finding any work in this business.
It's all relationships.
It's all relationships. Despite what people tell you, and if you don't know any of the skills in terms of like camera work or grip and lighting or anything like that, go to a film school, watch some YouTube classes, learn that on your own, practice. But that alone won't get you a job unless you join a union, and even then, you need to know somebody. So,
100%.
This whole business is totally connection based, and in order to get any job in this business, you need to just network, and that's really hard to do. And I think a lot of people don't know how to do that. And one thing that I've learned that I can say is super beneficial is when you do meet somebody, because we all know somebody who knows somebody. Like we all know,
we're all
our
2
family
degrees
friend
away from someone.
Yeah, we all know our family friend's dog sitter who is a writer. You know what I mean? It's like it's like the most random people. So what's good is like just try to get connected to as many people as you can. And after you meet them once, don't ever expect that they're going to call you or text you for a job. Don't ever assume that. Always follow up. Text them once a week. Text them once a month. Schedule a meeting with them once a month. Whatever it may be.
Always, the go-to is coffee, and most of the time they'll pay.
Yes.
But a lot of people love going out and talking over coffee, and the biggest thing isn't to, be super loud about, hey, I'm here, give me a job, please, I need a job, please. It's like they want to meet with you, and they want to give you advice, and they want you to hear, from them what it's like and everything, and get kind of information that way. And that's what it should be. And like, if you have a good personality and you're cool, they will remember you. And one way or another, like it will be to your benefit.
100%. And to your point, don't ever talk about yourself. It's not about you in this moment, right? Don't explain your resume. Don't explain every short film you've worked on.
Yeah.
Ask them questions. If we've learned anything in this industry, everyone who works in it loves to talk about themselves. Let them do it. Yeah. It's not about you. They'll remember how good of a listener you were and how well you paid attention, right? I mean, don't talk about yourself. It's not about you right now. And it will be one day, but not right now. And then one day you can pass it on to the next kid who wants to get coffee with you. Yeah. But
it's a circle of life.
It totally is. So right now, I am in between jobs. As always, there's maybe something that might be happening in sometime in March or in the spring. And that's the way this business is. You kind of just have to prepare for it and prepare for the fact that you don't know where your next job is sometimes. Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do, especially for most people. And I think most people quit after a while of doing that because it's hard to live job by job. Anyone who's maybe a contractor knows that. So yeah, right now that's where I'm at, and that's what I've done in the past. And I'm actually, so someone that we know that we look up to once told me this quote: treat everyone like the president and work your butt off. I was told that as a senior in high school, and I went, all right, that's all I have to do. I mean, literally, you listen to everybody, you treat them with the utmost respect and kindness, and you work your butt off. And that's how you get jobs in this business. It really is. And so if there's anyone out there who's a college-age kid, high school-age kid, and you have a dream of doing this and you don't know what or how to do it, find somebody who even is remotely related to this business and pick their brain. Yeah. That's all you need to do. That's the best way to get started.
And just to kind of touch on this, like, this is kind of the reason we're doing this podcast and, setting aside time to talk about it is just because, we're not in the middle of the industry and we're not seeing how it goes, but this is our intentional conversation for the week to make sure that we are, working towards it. Yep. And to kind of hold each other accountable and figure out, how this is real time. How do you get a job in this industry?
Yes.
And we know, like, we live it day to day, and it's really difficult. And we've been lucky to get the jobs we have, but even that, it's like nothing's guaranteed. Those jobs last, a couple of weeks at most. So what's exciting about this is, like, everybody who's listening or watching, like, can kind of see in real time, like, when we do get jobs, we'll be like, oh, perfect. Here's how we did it. But yeah, I mean, like, that's the whole point of this. Is like talking about and figuring out and navigating how to get jobs in the industry, because you can go to college for, 8 years. There's not a class called here's how you get a job in the industry, and or sorry,
how to get a film job 101.
There are some classes like that, but I would say that there's not degrees in.
No.
You don't get your degree in getting a job in the film industry, and people like to harp on the art and the artistic vision and the technical side of it all, but it's like
the business aspect
doesn't matter what you know.
Totally overlooked.
I'm sure there's a guy in Nebraska who has got great opinions on movies. I don't care. Who cares?
Yep.
Honestly.
So if you want to follow along our journey, please like and subscribe to our channel, because who knows where this might take us, and we'd love to have a lot of you along for the ride. Speaking of our short film, what do we have going on in terms of updates for this week?
We'll rapid fire this.
Yep.
We've got our cast probably like 90-95% locked in. Our music is about ready for the shoot. We're still getting some crew together. The biggest thing right now is making sure that we're prepared on the technical side. It's really important to us that it looks and, acts how we want the future feature film to act.
Mm-hmm.
And just to put our best foot forward and to be professional with it. And obviously, like every film right now, our future depends on it. It depends how hard we work on it. So we're putting everything we can into it. The biggest changes recently, we've made some huge changes to the feature story and the characters, and just figuring out who they are and making them more built out. And so we've kind of reshaped it a lot. And I think, like, this is, again, like, we're at the best version of the story, which is where you always want to be. Like, every change we've made, it feels like we're taking big steps forward and we're not, just moving sideways. So yeah, I mean, we're about there. We're maybe 3 weeks out from shooting it. Pretty exciting.
Yep. Great stuff. So today's old Hollywood word of the day to wrap everything up is Abby Singer. Now, this is a classic studio era word. Abby Singer is the second to last shot of the day, not to be confused with the martini shot, which is the last shot of the day. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah.
Nobody knows the Abby Singer. And it was named after the legendary assistant director who liked to warn the cast and crew that the end of shooting was near.
Yeah.
So that is the word of the day. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We really appreciate all the support. We appreciate all the comments on every post that we have, every short that we have. We respond to every comment. So if you have anything to say about any of our takes, we would love to chat about it. Grant, anything? Any final words?
Nope.
Well, great. Thank you all so much for watching
Sweet.
again. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you all next week.